listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Well, here we are again, another Sunday night, another Sunday of recording with the Trophy Horse, episode number 663. Tricky has deemed that the Grinelli takeover still remains in effect, despite him getting a brand new shiny computer that is making everything run. And so there we are. Tricky, how are you?
I'm doing better now, but as you know, last night, hockey came back, and we were both excited, and we were both severely let down.
I feel like my face was kicked in.
What, the Devils lost, 5-2?
4-2.
4-2. And here comes the ridicule. The Rangers lost 8-2.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Was it at least a good team?
No, it was actually the worst team in the Atlantic Division.
Ouch.
I knew they couldn't beat that high school team.
They lost to the Buffalo Sabres, who, stat-wise, here you go. Stat-wise, they are the best team in the first period. And
Buffalo or the Rangers?
Buffalo.
Okay.
And Buffalo proved that point last night by scoring 5 goals in the first period, knocking out Igor from the net.
Damn, 5 goals in the first period?
Yes, the Rangers were losing 5-0. Then I started getting a little hope because the Rangers came back, scored 2 solid goals, and then they proceeded to give up 3 more. So,
you shouldn't have started to have hope until they got to 3, because you're still after 2 goals, you're still down 3 goals.
Well, I didn't finish the stats is because Buffalo in the second and the third period are among the league's worst team. They've given up the most goals in the second and third periods overall. So when they started scoring in the Rangers started scoring in the second period, I'm like, okay, they're not good in the second, third period. Maybe we'll make a comeback. No, but
when you give up 5 goals in 1 period, a third of the game, you deserve to fucking lose.
Absolutely.
You deserve to get routed. And that's not just a knock on the Rangers. That's any team. When you give up that many goals.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But then the Rangers turned around and played the Pittsburgh Penguins today, and they proceeded to beat them. So I'm happy.
Well, that's good. Any loss to a Pittsburgh team is a good loss.
Yes. But that is all my hockey talk. But yes, my nice PC is nice set up and running. I did order a graphics card stand on the recommendation of Mr. Matt about that, so I'm going to be getting that tomorrow to plug that in. And the second I got the PC, which I have to admit, Matt did pick out, gave me the nice choice. But
is it water cooled?
It is not water cooled.
Okay.
But it does have Matt's second least favorite feature. The RGB is back, gentlemen.
I'll say, do you have the lights? Because the lights are kind of cool.
You mean the red, green, blue?
The RGB lights, yes. But Matt is not a fan of RGB. Are you, Matt?
No, I don't like flashy lights all over my computer.
I mean, I get it. It's not for everybody.
Because when I turn off the light in my main room and I've got giant lights flashing me in the face, distracting me, plus it looks stupid. Like, I'm okay, generally speaking. You know what? Okay, first and foremost, Alex Yield, welcome to the show as well, since we didn't do intros there. Second, I am generally okay with RGB if you go with a unified theme, like one color. But the constant flashing of multiple colors is A, distracting, and B, looks fucking stupid.
I love how Matt, after he says something, like always looks to the side, like it's like a mic drop moment. He's like,
No, so on my side, so since people who are viewing can see kind of what I have, but the listeners are like, I don't know what's going on. To my left is my Steam Deck, and I am currently doing some game preservation on it, and I just need to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Oh.
Welcome to the chat, Saber. Not saying that one out loud.
No. But thank you for being here, Saber. Yeah, so that's been my week. And I think you guys are gonna be surprised on the game that I'm playing when we get to that part.
That's awesome. I'm ready to hear it.
But there's a story with it and why I started playing it because of a story, and then I came home, downloaded it on my PS5, and now played it again. And I was very disappointed. The trophies are not the same.
Let's do our trophies, since this is the trophy whores, and then we can get into what we've been playing.
Yeah, because we want to get to our trophies before Tricky can talk about the jumping waffle cone.
I didn't get that this week. What did I get this week? I don't know which one I got this week. I'm sure there's pretty sure there's a jumping waffle cone. I am level 964 total trophies of 34,204 with 989 plats. I got one more plat this week.
I am level 518 total trophy count of 10,519 of a platinum count of 189 and 188 games.
Yield.
Level 526 with a trophy count of 10944 and a platinum count of 208. I've earned 2 platinums since I was last on.
Okay. I am still level 221 with 1,333 trophies and 0 platinas, but I earned an achievement today, and it was called If You Build It, They Will Come, which I will go over when I talk about what I've been playing.
That's a good achievement.
Yeah, I don't think they came yet, so we'll see.
Was it a Field of Dreams?
No, it was not a Field of Dreams.
Stop talking about Kevin Costner again, Tricky. Leave it alone.
Again? What did I talk about last time?
Oh, you don't remember, do you?
No. Refresh my memory.
It's probably the only time Kevin Costner's ever been mentioned on this show, and probably for good reason, because,
Because he's a hell of an actor?
Kevin Costner. Like, why would we have a reason to talk about Kevin Costner ever? He's never been involved in video games.
Okay, when did I bring up Kevin Costner?
You didn't. I was joking. It was my way of referencing your reference. I was acknowledging your reference.
Well, it was a bad reference.
Well, you say that is the right. If you build it, they will come. That's what James Earl Jones said, right, to Kevin Costner.
Yes.
Was it James Earl Jones? I thought it was
yes.
I know. Okay, clarify. I know James Earl Jones said it in. I know it was James Earl Jones said it in the show, but who actually was the voice? I thought that was his father.
I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen Field of Dreams.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was a decent reference, and I was giving you credit, and recognizing it.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. I don't get a lot of recognition, especially in our group chat.
You get plenty of recognition in our group chat.
Listeners, I don't know if you can see it, but
listeners, I don't know why would they be able to see it? How can they see it, Tricky? They're listeners.
My face.
Yes, I know. They can't see your face if they're not here live.
Saber asked, wasn't that Tim Robinson?
Tim Robbins?
I'm asking his question verbatim.
I don't know who played his father. No, his father was played by Dwyer Brown.
Okay, Tricky already Googled it. I'm like, that's it. I'm Googling it.
Yes.
So, anyways,
Tim Robbins was not in. He was in. What was the other movie? Was it Bulldog?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know who the dude is. Off the top of my head,
you would know who Tim Robbins is.
Yeah, if I saw a picture, I'd be like, oh, that dude. I didn't know his name.
He played Andy in Shawshank Redemption.
Ah, okay. I didn't know he was in Field. Like I said, dude, you know how long ago it's been since I've seen Field of Dreams? It's probably been 20, 30 years.
He wasn't in Field of Dreams. He was in Bull Durham.
Either way.
Okay. Did we do Sid's trophies?
Hey, real
Yes,
quick.
I did. I'm trying to move on to the next portion of what you've been playing, and
hold on,
everybody
real
else
quick.
jumped in. So
I have a Tim Robbins related question. What
Okay.
movie was he in with Martin Lawrence?
Oh, I know that too.
Because I was thinking, where was the first time I ever saw Tim Robbins in a movie? And it was the movie with Martin Lawrence, and I can't remember what the name of that movie was. Hold on.
Hold on. Now I gotta Google it.
I don't know. I've never really
Tim
seen
Robbins
any of
is
his
tall,
movies.
Martin Lawrence is short. It was a funny movie cover picture.
Remember when it came out?
It was like 96, 97. Just type in Google Martin Lawrence, Tim Robbins.
That's what I Googled.
Jesus Christ.
wasn't it one where he was trying to steal diamonds, or was that was Blue? No, that was Blue Streak.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That was my
Anyway.
introduction to Tim Robbins, everybody.
Back to Vigia games.
Yeah, let's go back to video games. Tricky, what have you been playing?
Well, we gotta do the weekend rarity update.
Yes, let's not forget about that.
Weekend rarity update. What weekend rarity update? What's this?
The weekly rarity update from the rarity contest.
Oh, the rarity contest. Gotcha. Okay.
Rick has regained the lead in Division 1 from MZ Marky Frazier with the top score of Division 1 with 100 points. Doc Chicken scores 191 points this week and tops the Division 2 with the 953 and leads second place CJ by 286 points. I swear, when Doc Chicken gets to this Division 1, we're all in trouble.
Wait, how much does Rick have in total?
Well, what's 953 minus 286?
So basically, Doc Chicken has more points than anybody.
Yes.
Okay,
By
well that's.
far.
I feel like if you're ahead of everybody, like you should vault to number 1, to the first class immediately.
Well, he will get there in July when the 6-month contest is over. He's got to earn his stripes. This is the first time he's entered the contest.
I don't know. It seems like he's earning his stripes already.
Yield. You have stayed in 4th place with a total of 504 points. You had 66 points this week. Alex had 16 points this week and stays in 13th with 150 points. Tricky is not far behind him because he had 25 points this week and stays in 14th place with 149 points. So, Alex, you will be in 14th place after this show because I can spam a plat. Plat
You're
shout-outs
assuming
this
that
week.
I can't get a plat after we get done.
You're not going to get 10 points by the time. Anyway, Doc Chicken got the plat in MLB The Show 24. Psychiatrist got a plat in Horizon Forbidden West, Journey to the Savage Planet, and Gris. Homer got the plat in The Order 1886 and Detroit Become Human. Murray 2011 got it in The Stanley Parable. That's also where I got mine. The Big Don with Wreckfest. MZ with Police Simulator Patrol Officers. Pee-wee got it in Killzone Liberation. Diago got it in Ender Mongolia Bloom in the Mist. Gaz got one in UFL. What's UFL? United Football League?
Probably.
Wouldn't that be soccer?
Yeah.
Yes.
At which
go
point
to-
you have to pronounce it football.
Football.
It's
Nico
international. Come on, man.
Migotalak got it in Toy Story 3. Crook 09 got it in Soko Cat Combo and Returnal. And gentlemen, I will leave all of ours for ourselves. But Yield, good news.
Yeah.
You have your plat in one of the games you will mention. It got you the 2nd spot overall of the rarest trophy of the year at a 0.75%.
Wow, it's the 2nd rarest. I'll have to look and see who has the rarest. But anyway, that plat might darn well unseed Red Dead 2.
Ooh. Okay. So now we can get into what we're playing. The only thing I've played all week is a little bit of Division, Stanley Parable 2, which I got that plat funny story, I should have had the plat the day before, but I screwed up. What else did I play? Oh, so I started playing Jax and Daxter.
Oh, the Precursor Legacy?
Yes. But I was actually playing it on the PS3.
Okay.
I got put into a position at work, which we call here in New York special waste, is where people can come and they can. I don't know if that laugh was a good laugh or a bad laugh. But it's basically where people can come and drop off their old electronics, their TVs, whatever it is. And they dropped off. Well, I was at the position and there was a PS3 there. So the only game that available to play was Jak and Daxter on the PS3. So I hooked it up, started playing, earned 2 trophies, and then tried to connect it to my mobile hotspot on my phone so I could sync the trophies. And PS3 does not let you link up to a mobile hotspot. So those 2 trophies are lost forever in the ether, unless I decide to bring that PS3 home, sync it up.
So you have 34,206 trophies. Or
yes.
34,204 trophies plus 2.
Plus 2.
Plus 2.
Unless I decide to come home and sync those onto overall. But technically, I'm not allowed to. It's not my PS3, so like taking that home to sync those 2 trophies would be unethical. But
just like it'd be unethical to count those trophies among your total trophies when you haven't synced them to your account.
I didn't count them.
Oh, you were ready to go along. You were ready to go along with it, though. You're like, yeah, Yield, you're right.
Yield suggested it. I'm going along with it.
Yeah, you're happy to acknowledge that.
Yes.
Those trophies that are not synced, that could just not actually exist, and you just made that up.
I can take a picture of it next time I'm at that spot.
I don't care that much.
I know. But that made me so upset that I came home and downloaded Jax on my PS5 and started playing that, and I earned a trophy in that. But I was very disappointed. The trophy lists are different.
Really, they are?
That's yes. The benefit. That is the benefit of these new PS5 releases, is that there are new trophy lists. Because let's be real, when they went back and did the trophy list originally, at least for the Sly series, they kind of phoned it in. And I'm not saying they phoned it in for Jak and Daxter, because I got the platinum in that last year. It's a pretty good trophy list, but
did you get the PS3 version or the PS4 version?
I assume it was the PS4 version. It was whichever one was on the PlayStation Network before the re-release recently. It was underneath the I can't remember where I found it. It wasn't under the Classics catalog, because they just released one under the Classics catalog, right?
Collecting all those darn eggs suck. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, see, okay, so the trophies on the PS4 version, which is I don't know if this is PS4 or PS5 version. Oh, this is the PS5 version. Most of the trophies are collecting all the power cells in any particular area. That's the majority of the trophies.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the benefit of this. You get to replay a game whenever you want, and it'll get you new trophies. And like some trophies don't even have a trophy list, right? And we got excited when trophies came out and like they started adding trophies to older games. Well, here's a game, that has 2 separate trophy lists. Like if you really love this game, like how awesome is it that you get 2 separate trophy lists and a platinum for each for playing the same game you like?
Well, this one I don't like because there are 2 speedrun trophies.
Oh, the PS5 one?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad whoever did that did not get a hold of the PlayStation or the Sly Cooper games.
There's one that you got to get to you got to earn a record time or better on the Gorge and Precursor Basin. You have to get there in 40 seconds. And then there's another one that says you got to run to the top of the Forbidden Temple without running out of Blue Echo.
I'm sure there are YouTube videos that show you how to do it real quick.
I thought you were like speed run the game. No, those aren't that bad. Come on now.
Well,
those are like small sections of the game.
Yeah, but I don't like speed running things.
It's not
especially on a platformer that's not up to today's standard, so to speak.
What
It's
really
good, yeah.
sucks are the ones that don't give you any leeway. Like you can't make a mistake and still make the time.
Right.
Those are the ones that I hate.
Yeah, but the
Um,
one like I played that game recently enough to remember that the temple isn't that big. Like it's not. You can get to the top of it in less than a minute. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, but do you run out of echo in that minute?
I mean, you can, but I'm sure that they wouldn't make if they made the trophy. It's possible. They play tested it. They made sure it's possible. Jack and Daxter's not a hard game. I'm sorry, it's just not. I mean, it's not like stupid easy, but it's not like hard.
All right, and the my spam trophies came from the dog quiz. I got that platinum in 25 seconds.
Well, here's the thing, Tricky. Like in the Stanley Parable, like you played the Stanley Parable, wouldn't you get enough trophies from that to get your bonus points? Because
Probably.
there'd be enough commons in that, right, to get the bonus points.
There are a lot of rares. There are commons in that, but I'd much rather, because I thought about that too. I'd much rather get a game and guaranteed all my commons than sit there and try to count how many commons are in any particular title.
Tricky, that it don't take that long, my man, to count on a trophy list how many commons there are. You just go to PlayStation Network or PSN profiles and
Yeah, I don't want to do all that. It's much quicker, as I said, because I got this platinum in 25 seconds. It's much quicker for me to hold down a button for 25 seconds than me go and try to count. Go over to my computer, log on to PSN profiles, find the game, look at the trophy list, and count. That's gonna take more than 25 seconds. You'll deal with me, right?
What now?
Yeah, I expect that. Yeah, that's all I'm playing.
Alrighty. Alex, what have you been playing?
actually here. Sorry, I'm looking for.
He's doing his fantasy basketball.
No, I'm not. I'm actually looking up something real quick. Go to Yield. I'm
All right,
looking up
Yield,
something.
what have you been playing?
So, I fired up a demo. I going through the store, found a demo. It was called "I Am Air Traffic Controller Airport Hero Henda."
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, right. And so I was messing around with it. I need to finish the last two like steps, so to speak. But it's I'm gonna say it's a Japanese game. I don't know who actually publishes it, but I say it's a Japanese game because
It's made in Japan.
well, no, the voices, the English voices are extremely heavily Japanese, and so you can understand them, but you need to pay attention. You get what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And so it is what the title says. You tell you know the plane says, "Hey, I'm ready to leave the gangway," and so you tell the airplane you're clear, and it backs up, and then you from the ground crew then you pass it off to the ground crew. Ground crew, hey, you can go. You're clear, and then you pass it to the tower. The tower says you can take one of these. You can pick one of like a couple of different routes to the runway. And you're leaving on this runway, and then you wait for him to taxi to the runway, and then you can take off, and then he takes off, and then you pass it to I forget who, air traffic control maybe, and then you get points, and the faster you pass it off, the more points you get, or it'll auto pass. So it was like that's kind of interesting, but I didn't want to sit around and watch the plane slowly taxi, so I was kind of like, I'm done with this. So I tried that game or that demo. Let me back up here and go to what I've been playing. Ta-da! Played another demo for a game that I had found in the store. I was scrolling. No, this is months ago. Games I might be interested in, and there was this game called A Mare Zone. Let's see if I can. Because there's a sub. The Explorer's Legacy had a trailer.
It sounds like a game in American Gladiators, the American Zone.
So the trailer looked kind of cool, but I was like, You know, you get a lot of these games I've been noticing in the store that are like, I'm not going to categorize it right, but I say cheap games. You know, like they're like just thrown together, and they're like the trailer looks cool, but when you play it, you're like, oh, this is trash. So I've been wanting to, keep my eye on this game. Well, a demo popped up, so I was playing the demo. I didn't get all the way through the demo. I need to go back and finish, but it's a kind of like a point and click game, because you can't physically walk around. You have to, look in a direction and then click. I'm walking this way. And then he'll walk to the next spot where you can look around, investigate, yada, yada. So I need to play a little more. Point and click games always kind of kick my butt. But so those are the two demos I've been playing. Played a little bit of Helldivers 2. Need to get back into. I haven't played it since they've allowed us to go into the spores, the spore cloud, and I hear they've got invisible hunters and stuff. So I kind of need to get back, and I need to finish out the new war bond.
Who originally mentioned the invisible hunters?
It was Matt. We talked about it last week.
Because I gotta tell you, whoever posted that, I immediately got excited because I thought Division was bringing in invisible hunters. I was so disappointed when it was Helldivers.
Been playing. I played some Submerge, 100%ed that. So now I'm ready to play the sequel. I played a little bit more Pedestrian. Played some Bridge Constructor, just to kind of just to something to mess around with. Kind of a neat little puzzle game. It was $1. I got it on sale for $1, so I've been enjoying that. My first platinum, which was 2 weeks ago, was in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Shout out Nitro for helping me with, or for playing with me through co-op and helping me get some of the trophies that was less easy to get in multiplayer. Farted around a little bit in Star Wars Outlaws. Really need to get back into that to punch list it, but I still have a decent way to kind of go. Fired up SnowRunner with Nitro. Him and I kind of started playing through on co-op, and I'm also kind of playing through on my own save file as well. So I've been enjoying that so far. We fired that up Friday. So we played some Friday night, Saturday, and then today before I came up and recorded. And then my latest platinum, and the one that I think is a runner for Plat of the Year, if not Plat of the Month, is Red Faction Guerrilla for the PlayStation 3. So I think that's everything I've played the last 2 weeks.
The original?
The
Guerrilla?
original. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, not the remastered.
Okay.
The OG. So I grinded out. There was a group of guys on PSN Profiles at the end of last month that they were looking for people to go through it. And so we spent this month going through the multiplayer and grinding out the 250 wins and then the 100,000 experience, which my trophy popped at 99,500 and change. So I'm like, good enough. I'm good.
Okay. Alex, you find what you were looking for?
Yes, I was actually. There's something from a previous game that I played that bled into the game that I'm currently playing, and I just wanted to make sure I was correct on that, and I was. So, played a little bit of Rocket League, trying to finish up this latest Rocket Pass, and hopefully the next one's not very good because I'm kind of tired of Rocket League, and I'm just kind of over playing with the randoms. Played one round or a couple rounds of Helldivers 2. Didn't see. I think it was late at night and I was really tired, but I'm assuming I came across some of the new bugs that Matt was talking about. Like, Matt, what are the new stalkers called?
Predators.
The Predators, yeah, the assholes. No, the Predators. The
stalkers were assholes enough. Now they're even more of an asshole.
Yeah, because they can show up anywhere on the map. They don't need a nest.
Oh,
so the catch is there. The predator stalkers cannot go invisible. So there's a small benefit, if anything.
Oh, okay. Aren't those the ones that I've seen in trailers where they're like in packs?
I don't think I've come across them in packs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so a couple rounds of that. Once I get done with the latest Rocket Pass, I'll probably put more time into Helldivers. But main game I've been playing last week, like I said, I got the Platinum Trophy in Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, and now I've recently started up my run through Tales of Iron 2, which if you know anything about me or you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you know that I love the first game. And I was very excited when I saw that Whiskers of Winter was coming out. So you may have guessed this game, different protagonists, although the former protagonist, King Reggie, does show up later on in the game based on some of the stuff I've seen. The first game takes place in a more southern area, features the frogs as the main enemies. You're kind of in more swampy areas. This one is further north, and your main enemies are the Darkwings. I know what everyone's thinking. No, they're not ducks. The Darkwings are actually bats, and they're really, really cool enemies. Some of them larger ones, like, some of the Darkwings will ride other Darkwings, and the rideable ones are like almost dragon-like, in that they're like, spit ice breath. So instead of like fire, they spit ice, or they spit ice breath. It's pretty cool. So the bats themselves are actually pretty cool enemies. I actually like them better than the frogs. But in general, the game, Tales of Iron has always had pretty good enemies and bosses. So you do fight some of the frogs, so the frogs aren't completely out of the picture. And you fight the grubs and just some of the enemies from the first game as well. So it's kind of an expansion of the enemy list. Tricky, you will not want to play this game because there are spiders. They're called tail spinners in this game. So just go ahead and throw it out there, warn you. So the game itself very much feels like the first one. Combat, there are a few changes, but for the most part, the core mechanics are the same. You still have to figure out, based on on-screen indicators, whether you can dodge an attack, whether you need to parry an attack, or whether you need to block an attack. So, again, challenging combat, a game kind of like a mix of a Metroidvania with like Soulsborne style combat, just exploration based. You get to you gain access to areas as you get later on in the game. There is some backtracking, of course, in a Metroidvania style game, and then also the combat. Basically, kind of trial and error. You fight a boss. You may beat some of the bosses first time, but there's others where you're going to have to practice at it and just get better. And that's just the way the game is. There are 3 different difficulties. There's an easy difficulty, a Tales of Iron difficulty, which is kind of their normal, and then Bloody Whiskers. For the Platinum Trophy for this game, you do not need Bloody Whiskers. You do not need to play on a certain difficulty. There's no difficulty-related trophy, although during the first game, they released a DLC pack of trophies where you had to play on Bloody Whisker mode to get a trophy. So if you're 100% freak like me, a completionist freak like me, if you want 100% this game, down the road, you will most likely have to play through Bloody Whiskers. But if you just want the Platinum Trophy, you can go through on easy and you'll be fine. So the main game, basically the story is, like I said, you're in the north, you're fighting bats, and it kind of unfolds like the series of events in the first game. The rats fight off the bats, and the bats are gone for a while, and you think, everyone's prospering, the rats are doing really well. You think everything's safe. And one night, boom, the bats launch a sneak attack and basically murder everyone in your keep and wipe out, everybody at your castle, and you assume the role of warden from your father. So the cool thing about this is that, and if you don't remember, that's pretty much what happened in the first game. The frogs came, killed your family, and then you as Reggie assumed the role of warden, and you had to basically save the kingdom from the frogs. This time you're Arlo, and your father Eivor is really cool because I was looking this up earlier. One of the characters you fight as a boss in a DLC for the first Tales of Eivor, Warden of the North. So they basically brought that character back from the DLC, kind of foreshadowed his interest into the series, and basically, so your father Eivor is killed, and you basically, as Arlo, have to go on this quest to rebuild your kingdom and save it from the bats. Again, fun combat. They add a few new mechanics, like a whetstone. It allows you to sharpen your weapons, and your weapons then gain a buff for a certain amount of time. For a certain amount of hits, you do more damage, which is, it's a nice little mechanic there. And there's different like elemental based weapons. Some weapons are just your standard iron weapons. Some have like a poison edge to them. Some have like a fire edge. And the different enemies in the game are weaker to certain elements. So you have to do mix and match to see, which element, fire does better against this enemy, or lightning does better against this enemy. And so there's a bit of trial and error there. and you gain new like elemental powers. Where if you held L2 and you press one of the sacred symbol buttons, the triangle, square, circle, X, you do a corresponding attack of fire, ice, electric, or poison, which you gain, throughout the story going through the game. So there are some new mechanics to the combat, but again, it's still, the same side-scrolling block, parry, dodge kind of stuff that you felt in the first game. So they don't add too much to where it feels different, but they add enough to feel like they advanced the game. Fast travel post, I think, is another addition to the game, where you once you go to an area, you can use fast travel to get around. But which the game that backtracks is a blessing. The cool thing though with these fast travel posts is you actually have to build them. So there'll be like a little person like hammering on the post, but when you go up to it, you'll have to bring up an option to where you've been collecting like rocks and ore and metal and wood and other materials throughout the game, and you actually have to submit some of those to build the post. So every post you're actually going by, it's not like you just get an automatic fast travel point. You actually have to build it, which is kind of a cool little thing, a nice little touch there that you kind of have to earn it. You don't just get to like pass it by and it's activated. The only real negative of the game is that there's fall damage, and it's not like, oh, I fell off a skyscraper and I got hurt. That would make sense. There's like really small jumps that you make in the game where you can take like damage. Like you're not even jumping 10 feet or anything like that. You just take fall damage. And it's led to an incident where I had such little health that I died, and I had to actually go back and replay a segment because of fall damage. And again, like, I understand certain fall damage, but this, like, some of these jumps and falls you have to make. There's no way around it, and you take damage for it. So that is an annoyance. That's really the only thing I don't like about the game. But other than that, love the visual style, really enjoying the story, like the combat, like the enemies, like the characters. Overall, Tales of Iron 2, very much similar to the first one, but again, enough advancement to make it feel like a sequel is warranted. And Oddbug Studio, like I love the first game, I love the second game, so I would highly recommend it to anybody who has seen Tales of Iron, who played the first game, whoever enjoys a little exploration, challenging combat. If that sounds for you, I would highly recommend Tales of Iron 2.
That all?
Yeah, pretty much that.
Okay. Kind of a weaker gaming week for me. I didn't play a lot, but I had some fun with those that I did.
Don't be so goddamn hard on yourself, Matt.
Well, now I'm just going to be even more hard on myself. Played a game called Fly Night. This is a little indie game where you create an anthropomorphic fly that you get to design, and then you go dungeon crawling with some friends. It has Soulsborne-like mechanics where you have healing potions and a campfire that you use to rest and reset your enemies. It's a very stylized, I don't know. I would say graphics are kind of like late PS1 graphics, but you equip different weapon sets. They've got things like a leek shield and a leek sword, like the plant base item. It's very weird. It was like $6, and me and my friends felt it would be a good lark just to play it. So it's neat. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend in it, but you're walking around and you've got like wasps who hate you. They literally call you flightless ones, which is weird because as a fly you don't have wings, and I don't know why that's a thing. Guess design choice maybe. And it's very janky, super jank, but we figured it'd be a fun little game to play multiplayer.
It's hard to fly. It's Fly Night, right? Like Knight.
Yep, like night.
It's like hard to fight. It's hard to fly when you've got chainmail and other armor on. It's heavy.
I guess you don't need your wings then.
It weighs you down.
So that was one thing I played. Another thing was Sid Meier's Civilization 6. I know most everybody has moved on to 7. I've never played 6, so I figured I'd just give that a number of rounds. I chose Teddy Roosevelt as my avatar because gonna make a military-based America, which I guess isn't that far from the truth. And it's Civ 6. I have no aspirations to play it beyond, maybe a game or two. Saber says 7 is absolute trash. Yeah, I've heard that. Evidently it launched in a bad state. I'm sure it'll improve over time. Yeah, I played 5, Saber. 5 is really good. I also like Civilization Beyond Earth, which is where you get to like colonize a different planet and see different animals. It's such a unique take on it. I really want them to go back to that. Also played more Metaphor ReFantasio, which I've gotten through what I guess they consider the tutorial of the game, because now we're on to the main story. And part of the main story, it's not a secret, so it's not spoiling anything, but basically the king of the kingdom dies, and now a group of people get marked as potential successors. And what you have to do is, between doing missions and other things, you have to work your way up to being, it's like basically a popular vote now, that whoever is the most popular, most supported by the people will become king. And that's tracked on like a day-by-day basis. But I'm earning more architectures, which are your summons, your really hard-hitting powerhouse moves. And now I've done this thing where you do like a synergy where multiple people in your party have different architectures, and now you can combine them to do like super special attacks. So it's getting really cool. I like the aesthetics. The animation is really great. And it's now starting to open up for me, whereas before it was pretty linear as to what I was doing. And this is all within like the first 5 hours or so. And it's a good game. Definitely, if people looked at Persona and said, I hate the school setting, and you wanted something a little more mature, a little more fantasy-based, then definitely give Metaphor a try. But if traditional RPGs aren't your thing, then stay far away. I know people will go into it thinking that they can overcome it, but no, it's not going to work that way. But speaking of RPGs, I also put in about 2 hours into Avowed, Obsidian's newest release, and using Game Pass to play that. Created my character, kind of chose a class, but the way the game says is the class you choose or your origins don't really matter. It's really a game about gear and what you do with your gear and how you set up your gear or upgrade your gear. It's got a lot of typical RPG mechanics, stealth hits, sword and boarding, just plain old attacking. You get to adjust your beginning stats between like strength, intellect, what else? A couple other stats, perception. And it's not bad. I just don't know if it's going to be good. A lot of people say that it's competent, but that it hasn't done anything different. That's not doing anything different that Skyrim didn't do back in 2012. So we'll see how much further I actually get into it. I'm just really, really, really trying to bide my time until Monster Hunter comes out on Friday, because once that game hits, pretty much every other game I'm playing goes by the wayside for a couple months.
I was going to say, Matt, it'd be a good opportunity for you to finish up some stuff in Astrobot rather than play all these games that you seem, honestly, it seems like you weren't really that excited about anything you played this past week.
No, I really wasn't. And that's why, like, I looked at Astrobot, I was like, I'm now at that point where I'm going to have to push myself to get through it. And I don't know if I want to, or if I'm just going to come back at another time when the mood strikes me. Because I know if I just force myself to go play through a game just to complete it, I am not entertained, and I always think about, well, I could be spending my time doing other things. And yes, Saber, Astrobot did just add 2 new stages, and they're adding a new stage every Thursday for the next 2 weeks. So definitely, if you're into it, get on that. We covered that last week.
Let me ask you, Matt. I know that you've talked about very highly about Astrobot, as well as a lot of people have. It won Game of the Year last year for the Game Awards. But if you're having so much trouble, like, just completing the game, like, you just don't find the game doesn't push you to finish it. The mood's got to strike you. Is it is it really that? I mean, it may just be you, but is it really that good of a game? Like, shouldn't a game that's really, really good compel you to want to come back and finish it?
So I wholly acknowledge this is a me problem. This is not a game problem. The game is fantastic. It is very entertaining. It is very challenging. It's definitely got the mechanics where they need to be. This is a me thing where I get in a mood that I say, okay, if I didn't do anything with it, I'm done with it until I feel like playing it again. You know, there's very few games that push me, like Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. Those are games that I will sit and play for hours because I love the theme. You know, Wilds, I can just go in and putz around for a while. Any Monster Hunter game, I can go in and just fight monsters to my heart's content. I don't know what it is about being an adult now. And with the nights the way that they are, I don't want to get involved in something that I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to just put it down after an hour because I've got stuff to do. And this is just a part of me growing older going, all right, maybe I'll get to play something on the weekends. This weekend I didn't play as much because I had a guest over. As Tricky mentioned at the top of the hour, we went to the Devils game. So really wasn't playing much with my friend around. And today was all prepping and getting stuff done, getting ready for the show, getting stuff ready around the house, and going food shopping, doing all the chores that I couldn't do Friday and Saturday because I had a guest around. So all that to say, I took off this coming Friday and the following Monday to really sit down and focus on Monster Hunter because that is what you're going to be hearing me talk about next week.
Excellent.
I gotta jump in here real quick because I promised I would give somebody a special shout out. Finley Scott, who is in the Trophy Looting group, he got his first platinum ever. And Matt, you said the game, that's what reminded me. He has first plat ever in Spider-Man 2. So I'll give him a special shout out.
Good job.
Get down with the sickness.
Anyways, that is what I've really been doing this past week, kind of putzing around, just wasting time until Friday comes around. So,
Matt, before you move on, would you mind if I just had one other thing to mention as far as games?
I never mind anything, Alex. Go right ahead.
Oh, no, real quick. Just kind of like, and I say this because like highlight it as kind of an annoying thing that sometimes developers do. So Assassin's Creed Rogue, the best sword in the game is Altair's sword. For those of you who don't know, Altair is the original or the assassin from the original Assassin's Creed game way back when. And so his sword is the best in the game. And you earn it after you complete all the fleet missions, the naval campaign missions, which kind of happens very much in the background of Rogue. It's not like something you always actively do. The cool thing about the naval missions is you kind of like send your fleet off like in your chambers in the ship. You send the fleet off via menu system to go explore the world mission by mission to different lands. And like everything happens in the background. So while you're playing the game or even when your system's off, time passes. So like if you have a mission that takes like 3 hours, if you turn off your system, go to bed for the night, wake up in the morning, 8 hours later, the mission's over. So that is one really nice thing. But the thing is, you will most likely finish this naval campaign after you've finished everything else in the game. So you earn the best sword in the game after you finish the game. Just kind of a stupid thing. Like kind of a stupid thing that developers do. So, you know, I think that yes, you have to earn it, but you should have access to stuff like Altair's sword as you're playing the game. You know, maybe later in the game, maybe halfway through the game, but getting to after I've completed the story and gotten all the collectibles, like I have 100% synchronization. To get it then, it's like, well, this is fucking pointless, you know? And I fully admit that I finished up the naval campaign after I got the platinum trophy and just got the sword to say that I got the sword. But yeah, that's just my one little annoyance. And kind of sometimes you see that in games and it's like, well, why do you do this? Why? There's no reason for me to use it.
Yeah, well, thank you, Alex, for your weekly "This Grinds My Gears" rant.
No, you don't want me doing that. I have way too much to bitch about as it is.
This is accurate, especially with sad gaming news corner that I'm now introducing. Speaking of news, we are going to move on to that part of the show. So apologies if you don't like news, but here it is.
Sad gaming news corner needs to be the first news bit we talk about. That way we can, overwhelm them with joy in the next preceding topics as we go on.
All right, then we're going to jump around. NetEase
Jump up,
news.
jump up, get down. Jump up, jump up, and get down.
Jump all around. Sad gaming news corner. We are now talking about the NetEase news that came out last week. And it's basically surrounding 3 different articles that Marvel Rivals has passed 40 million players as NetEase reports net revenue of 2.9 billion. Then why is NetEase slashing jobs, including the studio director and his team of the Seattle-based Marvel Rivals team? So ultimately, what we're hearing is that NetEase has made record profits, but they're still slashing the teams and other people.
Yeah, they're going to make even more profit now.
And taking a real quick detour, Z-Profit, thank you for rating the stream with your viewers. Appreciate it. So this kind of goes, and I'm looking at a question, a community question, or that Will put up about what we thought happened with the Seattle Marvel Rivals team. And I don't know. I can't fathom why NetEase would be doing that. It seems like from these articles that they're cutting headcounts to make profits, but they're making profits anyways. So your guess is as good as mine as to why that team is gone. It seems Marvel Rivals is doing gangbusters. People are enjoying it. They enjoy the new characters. They just introduced the Fantastic Four. So I don't know. Anybody have a thought as to what the hell's going on?
I do.
I'll go ahead, Alex.
Well, my guess is that the game has been developed and now they're just supporting it. So they could be like, well, we got the game out there. So do we really need all y'all to help support the game with new characters and new modes and whatnot and bug fixes?
That's exactly where I was going to go to. It's like I felt like this studio was just probably redundant, and that the team in wherever they're based, I think it's China, are probably going to handle the workload. And I don't know. Did they say they got laid off, or they were just taking out the project?
Terminated.
See, I would be more. Alex, I'm not disagreeing with you because I think that's what it was too. But I would be more willing to believe that that is actually the reason if they moved them on to a different project or something. But if they would just let go, that seems a little extreme. That just to say, hey, we don't need you anymore. It seems like they should have moved them on to something else.
Well, and like you got to feel like every game has its tail. Every game has its lifespan, so to speak. So eventually, you don't want to have a game die out, the audience die out, and then you have all these people working for you. I'm not saying what they did was right. They should have hopefully retained those people, unless the company that made Marvel Rivals were just contracting them out for this game. But every developer, I guess, when they look at all these games in these communities, how they shift from game to game, especially in the online realm, they might want to stay ahead of it and say, hey, we don't want to keep all these people on the payroll and have the game, slowly, it's like, Tricky just said, or Matt said that it's got a ton of players right now, but at some point it won't. And I don't know how long that is, but this could be just the company saying we want to stay ahead of the curve.
Yield, any thoughts?
I haven't really been following the game, so I don't know why they would cut them.
Okay.
I was shocked that they cut him when I saw the article. I'm like, but it's doing well. I have no clue.
Yeah, that's what's making people wonder. Like, if the game is doing so successful, why did you have to fire these people? And it just doesn't make sense because I don't know.
When it comes to for-profit companies like these video game companies, it comes down to money. I mean, you just got to trace it back to the money and draw the conclusions to how you get there.
Yeah,
well,
because really, what's the benefit of getting rid of all these people, eliminating their positions, saving money?
And in the end, we came across this because it came up out of a Resetera post that the director of the Seattle studio made. He didn't go to a news article. He posted in Resetera, and that's kind of where it sparked out from there. And there were some confusion initially as to, did NetEase just lay off the entire Marvel Rivals team? No, it was just this studio. But according to the other article, it's just, NetEase is slashing jobs as well, which is about par for the course for any large developer these days.
Matt, the way you say Reset Era confused the shit out of me. I'm like, Reset Era? What? Oh, what people have commonly known, what I have known for the longest time is Reset Era.
Okay, so I just Googled about this, and according to Polygon, which I hate reporting from, they said that according to a report from Bloomberg, that the cuts to the North American team working on Marvel Rivals wasn't an anomaly. NetEase founder and CEO is reported to have cut hundreds of jobs, closed studios, and taken a firmer hand with the Japanese teams. So it wasn't just this studio that got cut. Apparently, they were a part of a broader cut.
And again, another sidetrack. Welcome to the stream. Snowfall Dragon, Papio Jetta, and Demonico, and Gamer Veranza. Hi, honey. Z Profit says in chat, they had the main group make the game, then they just have people who maintain it, and they can cut the bottom like people downsize, and they just make skins and casually release new characters. Saves money, they get bonuses, which sounds about right.
I agree, but I think they could have moved them on to another project rather than cut them. But was this a studio owned by NetEase, or was it just like another company they contracted out? I'm having a hard time finding out what the studio was actually called.
Because if the maker of, or the people who publish Marvel Rivals, or whatever, the main company behind it, if they were just hiring people to help, you're not going to bring that studio into your business. You're going to say, hey, our deal's terminated, and you're done.
It says that it was developed and published by NetEase Games, but when I looked them up, they say a subsidiary of them is Quantic Dream. So I think NetEase is actually like the main company, but I can't find the developer that actually made the game unless it's just straight under NetEase.
Let me look.
Yeah, it says developer is NetEase Games. Yeah.
But my question is, who is the studio in Washington?
NetEase Games.
Okay, so that was part of the NetEase company.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and on Steam is listed publisher and developer NetEase Games. So
yes,
no subsidiaries there. Well, best of luck to those who are no longer employed at NetEase. And you made something as good as Marvel Rivals. I'm sure you'll land on your feet very soon.
Now, I just have a question. I think I asked this before on a previous episode, but Marvel Rivals is a 5v5 or 6v6 shooter. And obviously we saw what happened with Concord. Do you think that the reason this is being more successful than Concord is because of the characters?
Absolutely. We discussed this. It might have been an episode where you weren't around, but yeah, IP absolutely helps it.
Okay.
And wait until we get to the topic of our show. And continuing in sad gaming news corner, and my awesome wife just bought me some milk and cookies because she is awesome. Thank you.
Where are my milk and cookies?
Hey,
at Matt's house.
Yeah, when you come over to Jersey for your gas and cigarettes.
Look here, Santa Claus. You got to save that for Christmas Eve when you're delivering them presents. You can't get them milk and cookies now.
What? No, milk. It's always time for milk and cookies.
Also,
yes, exactly. Every
is
day's milk and cookie day.
How is V there, but also in the stream chat?
Because she can walk from room to room.
She's multifaceted.
I don't know if I believe that. I'd rather believe that there's two V's.
So if Ashley was in the stream right now and she walked through the door behind you, you'd ask the same question: how could you be on stream and in the chat at the same time?
Alex, the only one I need is the one and only V. I'll leave it at that. All right. Continuing on with sad gaming news corner, GameStop announces plan to pursue a sale of the French and Canadian operations. This came from their own webpage where they announced that they will be trying to offload their operations in Canada and France. And so I can offer about $3.50. You guys want to go in on it?
You know,
Why
you
not?
called this sad gaming news, but it doesn't make me sad. I hate GameStop. I hate GameStop. Any steps we can take to that company ending, as far as I'm concerned, that's good.
I, once again, wholeheartedly disagree. I think it's good having our own specialty store. I think that we need variety. I think that they've got a lot of shit that they need to work through, mainly with paying their people properly and maybe adjusting some of the prices of pre-owned games. But yeah, they got too big, they went too far, and they need to be cut down to size.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. They're not going to change the price of used games.
I know they're not, but I listen. Like I said, I can offer $3.50. That's about as much as I think it's worth.
And the position they're in, they're definitely not going to treat their employees better. Which, like, look, I get it. People losing their jobs is not a good thing, but they don't treat their employees well. So I'm not going to be real sad if they also go out of business.
I'll be sad for the people that lose their jobs.
Well, that's a given.
I definitely don't think people enjoy working at GameStop anymore. Like back in the day, like back in high school, I would have loved to have gotten a job at a GameStop. Now,
Right.
I've worked at a GameStop.
and I'm sure it's hell now. I'm sure people do not like to work for GameStop
Well,
because chances are you're one of what 2 or 3 people that work in that store in a day, and you may be the only person there for like your entire shift.
Well, when you had FuncoLand, you had Software Etc., you had GameStop, you had
EB
EB
Games?
Games.
Man, I
You were
love Funko Land and Software, etc.
You had competition, and now you don't.
Yeah, GameStop bought them all out, jackasses.
That should have never
Well,
been allowed.
I think they would be. I think all those companies, if they didn't get bought out, probably would have shuttered by now anyway.
Well, it's because it's a bad model.
Well, I mean, the fact that
You mean the specialty game store is a bad model?
I think, okay, outside of GameStop's business practices, I think the writing on the wall for companies like that was when we all started going digital. There's no way a used game store is going to be successful if the market is going to all digital. Look at Blockbuster, for example. Once Netflix came out and everybody could start streaming their movies online and stuff like that, Blockbuster was doomed. And they had a chance to buy Netflix, and they didn't. And that ultimately what killed them. The market is going to dictate. So even if GameStop had the best business practices, treat every employee great and all this other stuff, they'd still be in the same situation they are now because the market is moving towards all digital.
Same. You saw the same with music and movies. You know,
And now artists are complaining nonstop about how they don't get the right revenue because, certain artists are not making the money off the streams that they used to. So the music business is struggling too.
Yeah, but I mean, I know vinyl has made a resurgence in recent years, and like, yeah, you can find independent music shops probably in this town and that town, probably in any given town. But if you remember back when we were in high school, like how big music sections were in stores, or like how many movies you could buy in stores, like there's a fraction of that these days. Simply because
you got companies like Best Buy that don't even sell physical movies anymore, physical games anymore, because they see the writing on the wall. They use that shelf space for other electronics now because that's not their moneymaker anymore.
Well, games were never a moneymaker. It's always about the add-on sales, whether it's the peripherals or a insurance plan. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of people don't care to go to GameStop. Listen, I can go to Walmart and wait 5 hours for a associate to come unlock the bin to get my game, and then I treated like a criminal trying to buy it and walk it all the way up to the front of the store. Or I can go into GameStop, ask for my game, and be treated like a walking wallet. Do you want this insurance plan? Do you want the magazine subscription? Do you want the credit card? No, fuck off. Just give me my game. That's all I want.
And
so it's a trade-off.
Just be sure you didn't get a used game that they're trying to sell for the new game price.
Which I've had
It's
two experiences. One, went to a GameStop, got the last copy of Splatoon. They gave me the shelf copy. They charged me the pre-owned price because they recognized that it was opened, not sealed. Another GameStop, they had the last copy of Metaphor. They were going to charge me the full new game price. And I said, no. Went home, ordered it on Amazon, $40 compared to the $70, and got it next day. And I hate that because I'd like to support Amazon less than I do GameStop. But $30 is $30.
Well,
Hey, be nice to Amazon. They're a sponsor of the show.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
when you go
how
to
much
a
money
game,
do we get?
when you go into GameStop, there's
Oh.
more shelf space for T-shirts and action figures and mugs and stuff and pop figures than there are for actual games at this point. Like, I understand they're a game specialty retailer because that's what they focus on, but their selection of games isn't great. So, like, relying on them to save the game space in that regard is misguided because that's not where they're really focused.
To answer your question, Matt, we'd make more money off of Amazon if they didn't think me and Yield were in a relationship.
Okay, that brings up all sorts of questions that I'm not willing to.
I was
Go
just
down
going
to
you
that.
know
to
what?
respond to that, but Yield just is quiet.
One of Yield's favorite games is Firewatch, and I'll tell you what, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'll say that much.
Yield, are you still with us?
Yeah.
You want to respond to that?
He's going to write Amazon a really bad review.
What the fuck was that?
Al said, where there's smoke, there's fire. I just showed him fire without smoke.
Oh, Yield, what'd you say? No, I'm sorry, because I couldn't hear you over the fire.
What I said, I was not responding to that.
Okay, so you just left me hanging in the air. I appreciate that.
Pretty much.
Yield, did you put in anything about GameStop selling off their Canadian French operations?
Hopefully, this will start a rebirth of some mom and pop video game stores because
But do you think mom and pop stores could survive?
I think they could. Like, there's still a market for physical games, even though Walmart's getting out of it and Best Buy and everybody's getting out of it. There's still a market there. Somebody will capitalize on it. GameStop's biggest problems, like what Alex said, while it's really cool to go in there and find all these video game niche stuff, I like it. But they went all in too much, and they're more of a video game niche store than they are a video game store. And they treat their employees shitty.
You know, the problem, Yield, with, if Walmart and all these other companies stop selling new games, the problem for the independent mom and pop shops is when they bring in, because, volume wise, Walmart and all these other companies can bring in more copies of games than, say, a mom and pop shop could. You potentially could have to pay more through a mom and pop shop. Like you knew, like, Walmart can cut you deal, like, can sell for an MSRP because they get, a pretty good deal by buying a bulk amount of games. A mom and pop shop, they may not be able to get the same deal and potentially would have to sell at a higher cost to you because of that. And
the problem with mom and pop shops is you find a lot of them are breaking street dates just to be competitive because they're advertising, come get this game 2-3 days early before you can get it from the big retailers, and people are jumping on that. But they always run the risk that if they're breaking a street date, not only could they never get those games from that company again, but they could also face heavy fines.
I mean, we talked about how, like, selling new games doesn't make GameStop a lot of money, which is why they went the used game route and, were turning everybody over and shaking out the change out of their pockets for that.
Used games is pure profit for them, though.
I know, I get that. That's why they went that route. But when you're a smaller mom and pop shop, your margin of error compared to a big company like GameStop is razor thin. And so you can't really sell a lot of new games and not make profit on them. You have to make more profit off those games. Which again goes back to there's probably going to be an upcharge for games because they can't not make a profit on those new games sold.
Okay.
And Saber in chat says the problem with GameStop is they bought out all their competition, then they had the market to themselves for so long, and people ended up hating them.
Yeah, the only thing though about like Tricky mentioned, Blockbuster refused to buy Netflix, and then Netflix blew up. It's not like GameStop could have bought the PlayStation Network or Xbox Live or Nintendo's online services. Those were coming anyway, and they really had no way to stop them.
Well,
they couldn't buy their competition.
I wasn't trying to imply that GameStop could have done that.
No, Tricky. I'm just saying you brought up the example, rightfully so, and I was comparing that to GameStop. I wasn't saying that that's what you're saying. I'm saying Blockbuster had a chance to stop it. GameStop didn't. They just also didn't evolve with the times.
Well, I mean, I don't think Blockbuster could have evolved with the times, honestly.
Well, no, if they had bought Netflix, they would have been fine.
Oh, yes, if they would have bought Netflix, but you also got to remember at that time Netflix was still selling renting out DVDs through the mail, and they just launched their streaming division.
Yeah, well, and Blockbuster tried to do the streaming stuff just too late. After they saw how well Netflix did with it, they just tried it too late.
They also got sued by Netflix because they tried to use Netflix's algorithms and shit like that, and Netflix shut them down.
And with GameStop doing the used game sales, like, let's be real, that probably hastened the move to digital, because you don't think Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo didn't want to kill off GameStop and their used game sales?
Well, I mean, look what they did with the the online passes and the PS3 days.
Yeah, but those obviously didn't work out. But
but that was their answer to it. It's like, oh, you're gonna buy a used game, now you have to pay $10 to play that game online.
Well, the real answer is digital storefronts. Because GameStop can't. You take out, even if people go into GameStop still and buy physical media, you've taken out such a significant amount of the market by people wanting to just sit home and download games without having to get in their car, that you've basically taken such a massive chunk of GameStop's business away that you kind of crippled their business.
I agree.
Alrighty, thank you for lurking in the chat, Channel 3. Hope you're doing well. Continuing on with, well, I guess this is more disappointing than sad, but those Nintendo Gold points you get for buying their games? Well, Nintendo.com says, say goodbye to all those gold coins. What they were, as you purchase games, and it worked for both digital and physical, as long as you registered your physical game, they would give you gold coins. And then when you go to buy something on the Nintendo store, you can redeem those coins for, pennies or dollars off of your purchase. And unfortunately, now those are going away as of March 24th. The question being is, and I'll need you to, yes, Channel 3 Dan, boo Nintendo, you all, especially you, Tricky, will know more about the Sony point system. Does that act the same, or is it different? And if whatever it is, do we see maybe Sony following suit at some point?
They okay, so there's two different Sony reward systems I'm into. There's one for having the PlayStation credit card.
He's not asking about that one.
Yeah, no, definitely not that.
No, but I do get points from that to redeem on the PlayStation Network. I think more you're referring to what we get in the PlayStation Stars program.
Yes.
Yes.
So you do get points in the PlayStation Stars for every game you buy. I think it's what a point per dollar. I don't know what the actual conversion rate is.
I'm not sure what I've never figured out the conversion rate.
But with the PlayStation Stars program, you also get the I'm going to call them challenges that you can unlock and whatnot. That to me has always been a disappointment, because a lot of times there was buy this game 2 days after I bought it and I don't get credit for it. Like there was one for the 30th anniversary. It says buy one of these 6 games, and it was all like the 6 most popular games ever. It's like, I bought those day one. Now, I can't get the bonus points for that. You want somebody a year later to buy that? No. Celebrate our 30th anniversary.
And buy it digitally.
Right. Well, I mean,
you don't get
digital
credit.
Is not a difference for me.
Well, it is for me, because I can't get it because I buy it physical.
Correct. But it's
But it's a free program, so
Yeah, you can't really argue. Like,
you can't argue.
But did any of you guys notice that we all lost our status on the PlayStation Stars at the beginning of the year?
They've done it the last 2 years.
I didn't notice it prior.
I did.
What do you mean? Like we're not level 4 anymore?
You're level 4.
They reset you back to the start of level 4.
Right. So as of right now, like I still have to make 3 full game purchases and earn about 100 rare trophies to be at the top of level 4 again.
Well, why does that matter? You can't go any higher than 4. And what does that do for you being at the top of 4?
Because at the end of the year or whenever they do the reset, if I'm not at the top of level 4, then I'm going to drop down to level 3.
Okay, but again, my question is, why does that matter? What does that mean?
Level 4, there are certain perks with it.
Like?
You can make me look up. The one that's coming to my head right now is the priority on customer service.
Well, Sony doesn't have great customer service anyway, so even priority customer service is probably like you'd rather throw yourself down the fucking stairs.
Well, while you look that up, Channel 3 says Sony rewards are more deranged. They still have no idea how Stars works. No one knows. And then he says, oh, I get NFTs with PS Stars. Tricky wants to get to 11. This one goes to 11. And throw yourself down the fucking stairs is level 3. All that went over my head. I have no idea because I don't obviously partake.
Tricky, if you can't find these rewards, they can't be too great.
No, I'm trying to find the actual things because the level 1, 2, 3, 4 are different things. I don't remember. Benefits of having. Okay, benefits to level 4 are receive a level 4 celebration digital collectible. Woohoo! A birthday digital collectible. Woohoo! PlayStation Network anniversary digital collectible and chat priority routing.
So it doesn't matter, is what you're telling me.
Not really. It never really did, but, you know, I'm the PlayStation guy, so, yeah, I want to be status 4.
But, see, that's the thing is, like, instead of resetting, why does it only go to 4? Go up to, instead of having these stupid perks, just let me gain levels. That'd be more, enticing.
There is a rumor, which I don't necessarily believe, but there is a rumor that there is a secret level 5. Nobody's actually confirmed or gotten it, so to speak.
What are you going to spend, like some god amount of money?
Nobody knows how to unlock it. Nobody even knows if it's real.
See that? Where did this come from? This sounds like some made.
This was just this was an internet rumor.
Channel 3 asked the question: who the hell contacts PS Service that often?
I've done it once, and it was a terrible experience.
I did it once, and I got my money back.
Well, I got my money back too, but it took forever.
And it could be argued that Yield was able to get his money back because he was level 4.
That seems unfair.
I was not level 4 when this happened, so
that could be, but I'm going to say I highly doubt it.
I'm just being funny. I don't really know.
But it's a good rumor to start.
Channel 3 says you get Azrath back in Final Fantasy 7 when you get to level 5.
Awesome.
Alrighty. Well, we're having enough fun at Nintendo and Sony's expense. I know, Alex, Yield, you guys really don't use Nintendo. Tricky, you barely use it as is, so it's not going to affect you very much.
On in 2 years.
Could you go like register? Because there was like, I can't remember, was it the Wii or something where you could register the games that you bought, the physical games, and they would give you the points for that.
Yeah,
you could
absolutely. And I'll tell you, here's the thing. Whenever I did redeem the points, I don't think I ever had enough where I got more than like $2-3 off. So it really wasn't
worth the time to jump through the hoops to like I registered the few I had for the 3DS, but the clicks you had to go to register it, and then the coins you got, it's like it would take me forever to get any amount of coins to get a free game.
So, they wouldn't allow you to redeem enough points for a free game. It limited you on the number of points you could use per game. Like, 500 coins was like $5 off. And Channel 3 says you got fewer gold points for physical games. Digital got more points, at least on the Switch. And, to me, it wasn't. I'd look and go, oh, okay, takes care of tax, essentially, is what would happen. So it's no huge loss. And I think in the end, it's a victim of their own system, because if you did let people gather enough to get a free game, it might have been more popular. And I think they expired like after a year.
Yeah, I think so.
So, okay. Nintendo just being Nintendo, doing what they do. Horrible store experience as usual.
If you guys are interested, and I don't know if you guys actually know, but depending on your PlayStation points, for 1,250 points, you can get 375 super credits in Helldivers.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you could
horrible.
I mean, it's free money basically.
Well, again, so is the Nintendo points. It just depends on how much money you could redeem at a single point.
Yeah.
Saber says something. Okay. Yep. Saber, absolutely. Sure. Channel 3 says the economics of PS stars and the games in dollars are even more deranged. As a Sony pody, it's psychotic. You make
Saber,
a convoluted system.
Come on, Saber. Be better.
You make a convoluted system, it's confusing.
He's right.
No. Channel 3 said that. I'm talking about what Saber said, that we can't repeat.
Sorry. Sorry. Well, Channel 3 is right, because I had a bunch of points at the end of last year, and I was considering getting Dave the Diver, because Dave the Diver was one of the games that you could redeem your coins for. It was the same amount of coins, what it broke down to real world money, as if I bought it off the store full price. And I'm just like, well, I'm not redeeming it for that. I'll just wait for it to go on sale. Because yes, it's a free program and you're giving me coins, but I'm looking for a deal. And I'm exchanging that at I'm not saying like a huge discount, but if I can get the game cheaper than what I can exchange my points for, I'll do that, and I'll just exchange my coins for gift card, because it's the same amount of coins for the same amount of real world money. So I want more bang for my buck.
Well, listen, anything that is essentially free that a company gives you and saves you money in some way, shape, or form, I'm all for. But you choose to get rid of it, that's sad, which is why it's in Sad Gaming News Corner. On our final story, coming from GameFile, Stephen Totillo. Remember a couple episodes back, we talked about a former director at Bungie who lost out on a $45 million bonus because he got terminated from Bungie at Sony's behest.
I don't remember this at all.
You might have not been on. But he claimed that he lost out on a $45 million bonus because he was terminated and was suing Sony because it was unfair. Well, Sony finally responded with a countersuit of their own with some very interesting text messages from this gentleman, allegedly to some female workers that may be labeled inappropriate. So Sony said it was justified, that there were some HR complaints and other misconduct, and as a result, that was why he was terminated. So in a wonderful spat of he said, she said, the Sony-Bungie relationship continues to be a fruitful benefit for PlayStation. Anybody read the article? Anybody see all this going on?
No, but I'm still confused about what Sony's and Bungie's relationship actually is, because Bungie's not a PlayStation Studios company. So I don't know what the hell.
Sony owns them.
They own them, but why are they not under the PlayStation Studios banner?
So if I had to guess, the
Because
PlayStation
they have
Studios
their own, was it anonymity, autonomy? Anyway, they're on their.
autonomy.
There you
Yeah, not anonymity. That's what you supposedly have on the internet, although not really. But the only thing I can think is that the companies under the PlayStation Studios label on that page, that are specifically listed on the webpage, are companies that make games exclusively for Sony, or some that may later go to PC. Whereas Bungie can make games for the Xbox, whoever.
That's not true because who makes MLB The Show? They're under the PlayStation Studios and
San Diego,
the
San Diego studio.
Yeah, and they sell their games to the Switch and the Xbox.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. It's always been a weird relationship, but I would think Sony has good enough lawyers to know whether or not they can terminate somebody. And it seems like maybe this person who was terminated probably should have just kept their mouth shut.
Well, there was like another article that happened recently where there was a voice actor who said they put out a tweet and it said, if you hear somebody else in Hades 2, it's because they opted not to renew my contract or something as a result of the writer's strike. And they're stirring up shit. And then Supergiant or Supermat, whatever their name is, Supergiant comes out and says, hey, just let everybody know that we haven't replaced any voice actors on this game, so look forward to you playing more Hades 2, which then got the public to turn around.
Never hiring you again.
Yeah, the public kind of came around and said, okay, why would they say that they never replaced anybody if this person's out there saying that if they suddenly don't show up? Yeah, it's called keeping your mouth shut. Don't burn bridges unless you absolutely have to. So with this case of Sony and Bungie, it's you make a claim about you got cut because they didn't want to pay out a $45 million bonus, and then they come out with their suit and say, yeah, here's some text messages you sent that may have been inappropriate. If Sony isn't on their game, that's a defamation suit right then and there. So to Alex's point, their lawyers have got to be pretty goddamn sure of what that reasoning was. So guess we'll see.
When you're a company like Sony, maybe you can't pay for great cybersecurity, but you definitely can pay for really good lawyers.
Well, that's your first expense line. All right, I just brought that up.
That should be on a T-shirt.
And especially, with the given amount of time between when that person came out and said that hey, they fired me because they didn't want to pay me, and with Sony coming out with their own countersuit, Sony's lawyers were just kind of like tidying everything up and putting everything neatly together so that they had this dude in their crosshairs, essentially. There's a reason they took their time.
So I'm going to talk a little bit here because apparently V is talking to Matt. So, gentlemen, we talk about the long-ass Cat 5 line that's in Alex's background.
The long what?
Why are we
Matt's
talking
back.
about it? What's
Sorry,
I was trying to vamp for a second.
There's a house discussion on the laundry detergent we're using. I'm fairly certain I picked up a bad detergent, so gonna have to go fix that.
So
Wait a
what
minute,
detergent did you buy there, Matt?
Well, so evidently I picked up the crap that has like the Febreze additive to it, and now everything comes out and has that smell that's like, yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't want my
it's making
sheets or clothes to smell like anything. I need them to not smell.
So you just want unscented detergent?
Yeah.
But doesn't it say like very clearly on the front with scent or this lavender scent or whatever scent it is?
Wait, Alex, do you really check out every bottle you pick up?
You have to anymore.
Yes. I look at the bottle before I pick it up.
I can't tell you how many times I picked up a sugar-free Dr. Pepper and it turned out to be like a Dr. Pepper cherry or something.
Well, here's the thing, Tricky. Maybe
you do that by accident so often.
Maybe you should start looking at the bottles and cans too, to make sure you get exactly what you want.
Channel 3 in there throwing shade, saying that I don't want to smell like I'm trying to hide stale weed. Yeah, I just means I'm going to have to go pick up different detergent and figure out what to do with the rest of this crap. Anyways.
You can meet me at the store when I have to drive to Jersey.
Alrighty. Tricky, hit the button.
Time to check my social media. Yeah.
That's for Joe, who's been annoying me all week.
Is that who was at Matt's house going to the Devils games? Because he is a Devils fan.
No, Joe never offers to try to coordinate Devils games with me.
You can't even coordinate to do a podcast with Joe. He called me up like twice this week. Like, yeah, man, I got to get back on the show. I kind of miss doing the show. Blah, blah, blah. Joe, you want to record? Yeah, let's record tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. You don't hear from Joe for like 3 days. Then when he does call you, he doesn't go, oh, hey, sorry, I missed the show.
I'm not here to trash on Joe, but I am here to trash on some of these questions because we already handled Will's, but Thomas asked the rest of our questions here. So simple yes or no. Don't need to explain. Is it okay to eat tzatziki sauce with every form of red meat or only lamb? Tricky?
I'm going to have to Google what tzatziki sauce is.
Tzatziki sauce. You know, the white sauce.
I'm just going to say no.
Cucumber and dill and delicious. Very
hell
Greek.
No.
I would say good for any. Yeah, channel 3, Greek yogurt sauce. That's the best way to say it.
Oh my God, no, hell no.
Okay, I'm saying yes.
The goddess is going to whip your ass. No, it's good. It's good with lamb. It's good with chicken. It's good with beef. It's good with everything.
Next one, with the news coming out from Sony that the online Last of Us game that was shut down only because they had talked to the guys who made Destiny and told them what goes into it. Then they realized they did not have the resources in order to do it. They should have just made a multiplayer from the original or from Uncharted 4. Here's the thing I will say.
That was more of a statement than a question.
But what it came up with, I remember seeing this article recently. I didn't add it to the list, but we'll talk about it real quick here, is that Naughty Dog came out and said one of the reasons why we canceled The Last of Us multiplayer was it was decent, but we could not focus on it and a new IP at the same time. So they opted to focus on the new IP, which we all now know is Intergalactic.
Yeah.
Prophecy.
Wait, is it Interstellar? Is it not Interstellar?
Or Interstellar?
Interstellar, yeah. Bad name, Naughty Dog. Come on, man.
It's bad if we don't know the name of your game.
So yeah, that's what I heard. So that's what I wanted to address here is that it's kind of makes sense now why it was canceled. They really want to focus on one thing.
This is stemming from the conversation with Shuhei after you left PlayStation, saying that he actually played it and it was good. First, I want to say fuck Jim Ryan for what he said to Shuhei. If you know, you know. We don't have to go into that. I don't know how much stock I put into this because Naughty Dog is not a stupid company, and they had to have known, or at least had a conversation with Bungie before they went on this, and to know what would have went into having to support this game. There's no way I believe so.
5 years of development.
I can't see Naughty Dog doing that.
Well, they had only run multiplayer as the second half of a single player game. So you had the single player and you had the multiplayer sides. And so I'm sure it was
making my point though, Alex. I don't think they would have done this much development without doing that research.
No, they didn't know, and it seems like Sony didn't know what they were getting into when they tried to develop 12 live service games. And I'm sure the same thing happened to Naughty Dog. I can believe this because they handled multiplayer, and online, but they didn't know the amount of time and resources that it would take to keep that going. I guarantee, because look at Bungie, look how much they've supported Destiny 2. For a company and a developer, company being Sony, developer being Naughty Dog, to never deal with that, I could see how you could underestimate the amount of time and effort that it would take to put into keeping that game alive.
I disagree, but okay.
I mean, it's fine. You can disagree. I just think, I don't think it's a foregone
don't think
conclusion
I
they
don't
did
think
this.
Naughty Dog would have gone that far into development without having a conversation with Bungie and saying, "Hey, what goes into running a live service game?" You're not talking about a small development time. It's not like they went 3 months and said, "Oh, maybe we should talk to Bungie." That game was in development for a long freaking time, long before The Last of Us 2 Part 2 came out.
It was in development long before Bungie was ever purchased by Sony. So theoretically, they could have gone a long time without ever conversing with Bungie. It may have been that they got to the stages where like, oh, holy shit, this is taking a lot. And then once Sony had purchased Bungie, they could have gone to Bungie and said, okay, you guys are now in the family. What do you think of this?
Well,
Because what was it, 2023, January 2023 when they bought Bungie?
22.
Okay. Dang, that long ago. But this game was in development before then, for at least a couple years.
July 22, just to be sure, or be clear.
July? It was January, I thought, of some year, but
Hold on. I'm sorry. They purchased them in July, and it was the acquisition was closed on July. They purchased them in January or started the process, but it wasn't closed until July.
okay, but there was years there where Bungie was not part of Sony, where they were developing this multiplayer game. So how could they talk to Bungie? Why would they just go off and talk to a company not owned by Sony about this?
Last of Us 2 came out in 2020? I didn't realize it was 5 years ago.
Sounds about right.
That means Naughty Dog is going to be
5 years.
7 years before they release their next game. That's a long fucking time.
Because they wasted 5 years on a multiplayer.
So do you see my point, Tricky? How
I know I'm sounding like the Sony pony here, but I just cannot believe that somebody didn't make a phone call and have a conversation with somebody saying, "Hey, what does it take to actually support a live service game?"
who were they going to call?
But Tricky, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But Sony made the investment at that time, and before 2020 and during 2020, to invest in 12 live service games. That's one of the reasons why they had a weak lineup so much lately, is because they had most of their top developers working on a live service game that they turned around at the middle of last year, and went, yeah, we're not doing that.
Tricky,
Okay.
I'm curious who you think they're going to call. Like when they started the project, what company or developer at Sony had worked on a live service game? Now, there may be individual developers, but as a studio, who were they going to call? Were they going to, hey, Bungie?
I don't think they have to call somebody within PlayStation Studios. They have friends in the industry.
Do you think they're going to call another company and ask them and tell them all this stuff about their game?
Well, no. So there's a way, it's called benchmarking, where you contact other professional areas, other companies. You don't necessarily give away all your stuff, but you go out and say, this is what we think it would take. What does it actually take to do this? There's no reason that somebody shouldn't have gone into that early. And maybe they thought they could. And then at some point, Interstellar became a thing, and they had to reevaluate and go, maybe this is a bad idea. It happens all the time with projects.
Okay. So I just Googled it. Apparently, Factions was in development for approximately 3 years. So,
That's close.
But with that being said, it also baffles my brain as to why they would start Interstellar and go, okay, we can't do Interstellar and Factions at the same time. Why wouldn't they finish development on Factions before starting Interstellar? Why essentially put 3 years of development and throw it in the trash?
Why did DC have a fully ready to go Batwoman movie and then said,
was it
nope.
Was it Batwoman, or I thought it was Supergirl?
No, it was, yeah.
Okay.
All right. We've beaten this horse to death enough. We still got one more question on our topic of the week. So really the last question. I'm sorry, no, we got two more questions from Thomas. This one's very simple. With Monster Hunter very close, did anybody pick up Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii?
No, but apparently Samoa Joe's in it.
I did not either.
I did not know.
No, I did not.
All right. Last question. Since it's February Black History Month, which black protagonist in video game is the coolest? He said on his own podcast, Lincoln Clay from Mafia 3. What do you guys think? And there's a lot. And I can't
think of one.
Well, no, I mean, I'm looking at CJ from
yeah, see, I was thinking
Grand Theft Auto 3.
The one that popped into my head was CJ. I forgot about Lincoln from Mafia, and I was trying to think.
I never played Mafia.
I was trying to. I haven't played Mafia 3 yet, but I do remember that that he's black. I was trying to think of some other black protagonists that we've played as. And
I got one.
Okay.
Jax Briggs from Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
Feel pretty good about that answer.
I mean, that's an acceptable answer. But when I was thinking of the question, I was thinking of like main characters.
He's like a character that has survived throughout the Mortal Kombat. He's been in there since Mortal Kombat 2. I mean, I know that like you're thinking of traditional arc, like adventure style game.
Right.
I mean, Jax has been in how many Mortal Kombat games? And he's been in the movies. I mean, not a great movie, but he's been in the movies.
I got my answer. I just thought of this.
Okay.
Lee from The Walking Dead.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm really upset I didn't think of this one. No, this other one. Coltrane from Gears of War.
Never played it. When it comes to PlayStation, I'll play it.
I know who he's talking about. I never played it either, but I know who he's talking about.
Okay. Hopefully that was educational for you, Thomas. Moving on to our topic of the week, kind of extending from what we had earlier, and Tricky, we need to come up with a soundbite for topic of the week.
I've been trying to find I've tried to find sound bites for a while.
Transition is painful.
Toe. Topic of the week.
Somebody clip that.
Oh, dear God, no.
All
right.
Fuck you, Matt.
Next week, Alex, I'm telling you right now, we're taking that out of your audio, and that's going to be the soundbite for next week.
No, next week's soundbite for topic of the week was "fuck you, Matt."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's gonna be the topic of the week intro.
So going back to Marvel Rivals news and things like that, and Tricky asked the question and really became, thinking on this. When we all heard about Concord being a 5v5 hero shooter, we all were like, fuck this. Then Marvel Rivals comes out, here's a 6v6 hero shooter. We're all like, fuck yeah.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, what other IPs would you like to see in a hero shooter, any number, that you think might be successful? Like, I'm not going to say DC because obviously that's the easy go-to that I still think would fail because DC doesn't know how to do a proper media entertainment these days. I've been struggling to come up with other hero content that would make sense. I immediately, out there, I'm going to put Transformers. Imagine that.
What about
choose either side?
What about Star Wars?
Star Wars. Matt, you kind of missed the mark there. You could have said Beast Wars, but whatever.
Well, you could throw Beast Wars in with Transformers.
What were you going to say about Star Wars?
No. I was agreeing with Matt that Transformers. I wasn't thinking of one, and then I was agreeing with Matt that Transformers. Would be interesting.
I know Battlefront 2. What is not exactly a 5v5 shooter,
but it's got heroes in it.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like Star Wars is a cop-out answer, but if you actually got like Star Wars characters, the Mandalorians, Jedis, bounty hunters, stuff like that.
Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah, but that's not a traditional 5v5 shooter, is it?
No,
It has a 5v5 component where it is heroes versus villains.
Okay. V in the chat says Final Fantasy.
they kind of did that with I think Zweinhunter, was it? Some older Final Fantasy fighting game. But like a traditional one. Like that would make sense. Like then I'll also throw in the vein of Transformers. Imagine G.I. Joe.
No thanks.
Joe's vs. Cobra.
Rather not.
No. Hell no.
What?
No.
I mean, the concept sounds interesting. Of course, you'd have to see gameplay or whatever.
See, I think for like a games like this to survive, and you're using like an established IP, I think you have to have enough characters established in that universe to really make it work. So the easy answers are Marvel and DC because they have an abundance of characters they can throw in. Star Wars, I feel like it was second, to those because we know a bunch of characters, if you bring in the characters from the books and stuff like that, you could definitely expand on that. Transformers, same thing, yeah. But Final Fantasy,
tons of Transformers.
Final Fantasy, yeah, they have a lot of characters, but I don't see that working as a 5v5 shooter.
Well, it doesn't have to be 5v5. You could go up to 4v4, 6v6, 7v7.
Okay. My point still remains.
Well,
right,
Pokemon came out with a what is it called? The multiplayer online battle arenas, the MOBAs. Yeah, imagine doing it more as a traditional.
You mean Unite?
Yeah, Pokemon Unite. So now change that into an actual over-the-shoulder 5v5.
What if you did? I'm sorry, I said.
I was going to say, as much as I would like to answer Street Sharks for this, I don't know if enough people know about Street Sharks for it to be that popular. But Street Sharks, if you know, you know. I mean, Power Rangers, you could always do the Power Rangers versus the villains. Power Rangers versus monsters. Although the first answer...
Not enough established characters, though.
Oh, come on. Who doesn't know Pudgy Pig?
I don't.
Oh, bullshit. No, I honestly think that my first answer that came to my mind is going to piggyback off my previous answer. The people of Earthrealm versus Outworld. Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
What about an evolution of PlayStation's All-Stars Battle Royale? And instead of being like a side-scroller brawler, you take the PlayStation characters, throw them into a 5v5. All like established characters.
Potential, but seeing as how that concept already failed once in that format, maybe it'll succeed in a different format.
Here's where that concept goes wrong. See, Mortal Kombat, like all the characters were created for the same universe and all kind of like work in the same way. Like Nightwolf and Cabal work in the same universe as, say, Scorpion and Sindel. When you get PlayStation characters all pulled from different universes, you got Nathan Drake and Kratos on the same battlefield. And it just doesn't work because one of them is a god. The other one is an explorer, like archaeologist guy. So it just doesn't work because some of the PlayStation characters, because of their universes and their series, are far more powerful than other ones. And you got a whole multiverses like thing going on there.
You can make that same argument for, putting Iron Man and Spider-Man in the same universe. Like
no, you couldn't.
They fight differently.
They're both superheroes, though. They both have their own unique powers. Like, Drake's power is he can use guns. He's not going to do shit against Kratos.
Technically, isn't Drake's power luck?
How's that going to do you against Kratos, who has climbed out of hell multiple times?
He definitely has some luck getting Elena.
Well, that was just charm. That wasn't luck. That was all charm.
V says, feels like the issue with Concord is that it's a new IP. 5v5 seems to do better with character pool already available.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. I feel if Concord would have came out with established characters, it would have done a lot better.
And look, as the company, what really you benefit from using Marvel is you don't have to work as hard to establish the characters. With Concord, you're trying to introduce people to these brand new people, these brand new entities. Marvel, it's like, oh, there's Thor. I know about Thor.
See, and some of the characters in Marvel Rivals, like I'm not ashamed to say I don't even know who the hell they are.
Like, who don't you know? Who's the character you don't know who they are?
Okay, so far the list is Adam Warlock, Black Panther, Black Widow, Captain America, Cloak and Dagger. Didn't know who the hell they are. Doctor Strange, Groot, Hawkeye, Hela, Hulk, Human Torch, Invisible Woman, Iron Fist, Iron Man, Jeff the Landshark. Didn't know who the fuck that was.
The best character ever.
Well, apparently. Loki, Luna Snow. Don't know who that is. Magic.
She is a brand new crew. She's never been in Marvel comic before. She's made for the game.
Okay. Magic, Magneto, Mantis, Mr. Fantastic, Moon Knight, Namor, Penny Parker, Psylocke, The Punisher, The Thing, Rocket Raccoon, Scarlet Witch, Squirrel Girl, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Storm, Thor, Venom, Winter Soldier, and Wolverine. And this is not including the new characters that just came out too.
Well, I'm confused. Like, were the only ones you didn't recognize the ones you specifically mentioned is not recognizing?
I don't know who Squirrel Girl is.
I've heard the name before.
I've heard the name.
She controls squirrels. That's not even a joke. That's literally what she does.
I'm not saying that was a joke, but like Jeff the Landshark.
He was a more obscure character, and now obviously he's become huge. Appeared in Deadpool mostly.
Well, Suicide Squad didn't do very well, so he moved over to the Marvel universe.
Wrong shark.
Oh, okay.
Not as kingly. Magic. That's a name. Tricky. You know who Magic is?
No.
Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that Colossus's little sister?
Yes, Ilyana. She has the power to make portals, and she recently appeared in the Midnight Suns video game.
And now here are the characters that are rumored to be coming. We know we got Human Torch and Thing. Those have been confirmed. Ultron, Blade, Angela, Beast, Captain Marvel, Colossus, Crystal, Cyclops, Deadpool, Emma Frost, Gambit, Hitmonkey, The Hood. And this says next to it, maybe Ghost Rider, Jean Grey, Jaya Jing, Jubilee, Locust, MODOK, Nightcrawler, Professor X, Pace Pot Pete. The fuck is that? Quicksilver and Rogue.
Yeah, and most of them are familiar with. There were 2 or 3 names there that I wasn't.
Who the hell is Paste Pot Pete?
Don't know.
Hey, you know what? He's sounds like a prospector. No, I like that they're adding in like lesser known characters. You know, I think that's cool. Like, you could easily just put in like, oh, we're gonna put in Wolverine and Iceman and Nightcrawler and Emma Frost and Juggernaut and all these people, but like truly trawling the depths of Marvel and putting in less obscure, like more obscure characters or entirely new characters, I think is really cool. So credit to them for that.
All right, but getting back on track, I think Concord failed because they didn't have established characters. Marvel Rivals is succeeding because they have characters and they did a good job of modeling them. Where I think Marvel's Avengers just, people were just, it released too soon after the movies. The voice actors threw everybody off. I think it was just bad timing. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not interested in 5v5 shooters anyway. V in the chest is Jeff.
So wait, hold on. Wasn't the Avengers game, was that, you had to pay for that, right?
Yes.
So this game is free to play.
Yes.
Lot lower barrier, lot lower bar to entry.
Well, Concord, you also had to pay too. So.
Yeah, which was when people heard that you had to pay $40 for that game, they were like, "What the fuck?" But Marvel Rivals, you have the established characters. It's free to play.
Yep.
All right. Well, we got some good ideas. Any developers listening, trademark Trophy Wars, give us the credits due. But with that,
NetherRealm, if you use your own characters in a game in a hero shooter, please make sure that I get my paycheck.
There we go.
Just put me in the credits. That's all I need.
All righty.
That's all Yield needs too. Yield, you just need credit. You name in the credits, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The credits will be rolling and it'll come up. Special thanks to Tricky Mick. People will be like, who the fuck is Tricky Mick?
I was gonna say the credits are gonna roll. It's just gonna say I yield to no one. It's like, who the fuck is that?
As long as their name's there. But with that, we can start.
Hold on. Can I ask Tricky a question real quick?
Oh my god, I gotta go to bed.
Would you rather be known if you were in the credits? Would you rather be known by your real name, your birth name, or would you rather be known by Tricky Mick?
I'd like it to say Michael Tricky McMiller.
All right, so a combination of both.
Well, I say that because, and there's actually a legit reason behind it. There's too many Michael Millers in this world that if Michael Miller just popped up in the credits, nobody would actually know it's me. But if you put Michael Tricky Mick Miller in there, then it establishes it as me.
One of a kind.
Fair enough. All right. Yield your shout outs.
Give a shout out to the Red Faction Guerrilla gamers who helped me out get the platinum in that. Cozy Quest, G-Bomb, Hell Tiger, Kairu Raiku, Woozle 11, thank you. Corp 73, Reno there, Rippo 24, and XX Zillaquish XX. Shout out to Matt, Tricky, and Alex for recording this evening. Shout out to everybody, the Channel 3 guys. I can't remember who else who was hanging out in chat. Shout out to Nitro for playing some SnowRunner, starting to go through SnowRunner with me. Shout out to Homer for knocking out several platinums before Monster Hunter drops. He was not joking when he said he was going to try to get as many points as he could. Shout out to Gareth for the rarity competition, his write-ups and all that he does with that. And we're going to call that a week, fellas.
You ready, Alex?
Your shout out to the community, the listeners, the fans, the fuel to the fire, the trophy horse. Thank you all for continuing to join us and support us through this journey. We're all part of this together. Of course, we are the voices on the radio, but without your support, it would not be possible. So thank you for joining us on this journey here through madness oftentimes, but hopefully often hilarity too. Give a shout out to my co-host Tricky, Yield, and Matt, as well as a shout out to Doc Chicken, who's taken the rarity event by storm, as well as a shout out to Rick, who has reclaimed position number 1 in Group 1 from our friend MZ Nitro. Last but not least, I'll give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend Ashley. So we just started the newest seasons of Yellow Jackets and the White Lotus. Really excited to watch those together. 2 of the shows that we really, really enjoy. I love you, hun. So yeah. It's going to be in my shout-outs.
Tricky.
Shout out to you, gentlemen. Shout out to my bed. Shout out to everybody.
The staples in my walls.
You have staples in your walls?
No, you have staples in your walls.
No. Shout out to Doc Chicken, who kicking some ass.
I just gave a shout out to Doc Chicken.
So I can't shout him out?
No.
Shout out to Ashley for putting up with Alice's ass every day.
I already shouted out to Ashley.
His grumpy ass.
I just shouted out to Ashley.
Jesus Christmas. Doc Chicken, who has almost 300 points in everybody in the entire contest. So shout out to you.
Copycat.
Bite me.
You dirty, filthy copycat.
And you know what? I'm going to give a twerp you to Alex, because without going into detail, me and Matt actually had a conversation, albeit a small conversation, about you this week, Alex.
All right.
I had your back and was trying to do something nice for you, but Matt talked me out of it ultimately because he was right.
All right.
It was more of a curse than a gift.
I'm sure Matt had my best interest at heart, unlike Tricky.
Tricky had your interest at heart. I don't know if it was the best.
Yeah. Now I'm interested to hear. You don't have to say it. We could say it off air. I'm just curious now of what kind of chicanery was coming up here.
Oh, I mean, let's just put it this way. There's no way you would have accepted it. My shout-outs are done.
All right. Shout out to those who were in our chat, Z Prophet and the people that he raided with, Channel 3 and Channel 3 Dan, who I'm pretty sure was one and the same tonight. Thank you for lurking. Gamer Veranza, Saber, and Jurassic Parky, who I saw was in but didn't say anything. Feel free to say something next time.
More Jurassic Parky.
More Jurassic Parky.
He was just coming here to celebrate the Rangers.
I don't know why.
Celebrate the Rangers losing to
They
the
won
Sabres?
They won today.
Shout out to you gents for recording tonight. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure you go on to channel3.gg. It's a fun time. And shout out to my wife V. Thank you for everything you do. And with that, Tricky.
Happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
Later.